Luke here. Welcome back to a brand new episode on the Discord.js block coding tutorial. I have a very little bit of time to record this video, and I wanted to make an image manipulation video a tutorial in this episode, but I don't have the time to do so. That's why I am making a nested command tutorial. Basically what nested command is basically you can categorize all of your commands into subfolders. For example, I can have a moderation folder here. I can't spell. Moderation command here, and we can go ahead and put all the moderation commands such as report, ban, and kick into the moderation folder, and we can have like a fun section which we can go ahead and have for memes, for example, meme and ASCII maybe even. And I made an error somewhere. I don't know what happened. I added F here for example, for whatever reason. So yeah, that's basically what nested commands are. So since we're here, we might as well go ahead and finish this real quick. So we're going to have a miscellaneous one for the AFK. And we're just going to go ahead and put the misc outside there. And we're also going to have tutorial, which is a misc command. I don't know what happened. Okay, let's just move this out. Move, please. Okay, there we go. And we're also going to trigger it inside. Let's put it inside the fun folder. Alright. I swear I just put that inside the fun folder. Alright, there we go. There are a few things we're going to need to make changes in these commands, such as relative paths. We're going to go and change that. We're going to have to change this as well for relative paths. I think the ban needs to change as well. And we're also going to need to change the one for kick. I think that's about everything. Alright, so if we go ahead and load our file now, if I do node dot, if we load this, we should say that we have Node.js files to load, or, well, cause an error. I don't even know why this error happens. I'm going to do a little bit of changes, which we're going to go ahead and do dot setup here, because otherwise, for whatever reason, it causes some kind of issues and just doesn't work well. Alright, so we're going to have to do that. And we're going to go to index. We're going to go ahead and do here is we're going to do const lib, because that's what the lib is. We're going to go ahead and remove bot there, and we're going to set up lib. So let's do it here, lib.setup, and then we're going to pass in bot as an argument, and there we have our functions here set up properly, so we can go ahead and forget about everything else. Alright, cool. So now what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to go ahead and find a path. We're going to need path because we're going to be converting a relative path into an absolute path. So in a moment when we code this function. So let's go ahead and call this nested files, or let's go ahead and call it find nested, because that's what we need. There's two arguments we're going to need to pass in. The first is the directory, and the second is the pattern, which is what the file extension is. For example, .js, .png, or whatever. We're going to find that specific file. And directory is basically the fs directory that you're going to be passing in, such as .commands, which we're going to be using. Now, the reason why fs reads just .commands is because it's fs reads from the project folder instead of from the actual file that I'm using it in, if that makes sense. Well, anyways, that aside, what we're going to need to do here is we're going to need results, which is going to be an empty array, and then we're going to be returning results later on, so we're just going to get that out of the way, and we're also going to do a console.log find nested real quick, so that we can go ahead and know what's going to be changing. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to be looking through the commands folder, and we're also going to be looking for .js files. Alright, cool. So now we have all of that. We can start working on the fs stuff, which we're going to do is read directory sync. And okay, I don't know if I'm making any typos, so I'm just going to do read dir sync. Okay, there we go. So now what we're going to do is we're going to pass in dir as an argument, because that is basically this right here. And then we're going to do dot then, and we're going to have to find inner file actually. So we're going to do inner file, and we're going to do that. All right, cool. So now we have all the inner files. We're gonna have including folders, including JS files, including anything. All the files are gonna be in here as the inner file, so as we call. So now what we have is from this is we're gonna need to do not inner file. Inner file is going to be equal to our path.resolve, so that we can make this into an absolute path. So let's define the absolute path. Is we're going to need dir and the inner file. Actually, this is a directory, not a file. So what we need to do is just turn this to inner dir and not inner file. So there we go. And this should be inner dir, not inner file. All right, there we go. All right, so now that we have that, we're going to need to do is const stat, and we're going to require fs.statsync, and we're going to go ahead and stat sync the inner dir. All right, there we go. And now, of course, results is still an empty folder, is still an empty array, sorry. So if we go ahead and do console.log in a dir here, and console.log in a dir here, and console.log stat here, we'll see all the differences. Of course, we're gonna get a little bit of issues. Recursive is not a function for some reason. And sorry, not .then, .for each. We're looping through the files, not .then. Okay, it's a for each. Okay, I have no clue why this is causing any issues with errors, blah blah blah. So we're just gonna go ahead and comment those out. And yeah, okay, yeah, sorry, that's the issues isn't from here, but from here. So I forgot to mention this at the beginning of the video, but I changed the events, the handlers folder, into events because they are called events, and I forgot to change it in the fs file. Okay, so here we go. We can see there's a lot of things being logged here, including an empty array, which is right here. Where does it start? Okay, let me just slowly go up. Okay, it starts here. Okay, so you can see there's a fun command, and we get fun, which is going to be the, where is it? What's the function? Integer. Integer is the fun command here, which is this one. This exact folder is what integer is. And then what we did is do integer path.resolve directory plus integer to make it into a absolute path. And then we basically have the stats of all of this, and we're going to need the stat to find whether it is a directory or not. So those out of the way, let's get rid of this as well. And we're going to do if stat.isDirectory, we can do results equals results.concat, and we're going to be concatenating the nested, find nested our inner dir, and we're going to find again the pattern. This is basically it. So now basically, if it's a directory, loop through that directory to find any more directory. If there are more directory, just loop through it and continue on going and going and going. So there'll be a long amount of directories going on. So basically, if you have subdirectories inside these subdirectories, you can still find them. So for example, inside the fun command, I can have, let's say, miscellaneous inside the fun command. So it'll also load every file in miscellaneous, etc., etc. So that's basically how that works. So now if stat.isFile, and make sure you make this, and inner dir dot ends with, make sure it ends with the pattern. So if it ends with the pattern and is a file, meaning that it is a JS file, and is also it's a file and it is a JS file, therefore we can go ahead and just say, we just go ahead and push that file inside our directory. We're done. we are done here, and if we go ahead and look through this, we can see, if we go ahead and log this, as you can see, we have all of our commands and everything inside our results array that has been returned from this. Everything here has been added properly into the results array, which is returning here like so. Perfect. This is exactly what we need. Now what we need to do simply is cmd files equals to find nested, and we can just do the exact same thing that we just did, that we just removed. So commands .js. Alright, cool. That's all we need. So now what we can do here is we can just comment this entire thing out again, and we're gonna just do cmd files. We just cmd files is a constant. cmd files dot for each, because it's an array after it's been returned. So now we're gonna look through all the files that are inside, and we can go ahead and say, yay, require it. So first off, let's go ahead and copy this code here and paste it here, and then change this to cmd files. So if the length is less than 0, there are no commands to load, obviously. And since they are our file, we can just do const props equals require the file. And once we are done with that, what we can do here is bot. Again, we can actually just go ahead and copy this entire thing here. We just don't need it. Alright, really cool. Cool. And we're going to just go ahead and do console log down here that loaded. Let's actually make this a template literal here. Loaded JS files, CMD files dot length commands. Alright, cool. And now if we go ahead and do this now, our command should be loaded. We're having a problem with bots.set again. Great. Why is this happening? I actually have no idea why this happens. lib.setup.bot, we're getting bot passed in properly and everything. Bot commands, blah blah blah. What issues am I having right now? I'm not actually sure right now. And props, we get file passed in, and then we get file is required by props to .help .name props blah blah blah. It should work. I actually have no idea why this is happening. This is line 59 apparently. Line 59 61. It's basically this line here. Again, I don't know why this happens. Oh, because it's not yet declared. Alright, there we go. Loaded 8 commands. And now if we do tutorial, there you go.